Ethan's ship descended slowly onto the jagged surface of Corin 5, a planet known across the sector for its massive scrapyards. The smell of scorched metal and chemical fumes filled the air, and the endless mountains of discarded starship parts gleamed under the planet's twin suns. Ethan had been traveling for weeks, salvaging old tech and selling it for credits, but this planet's scrapyards were infamous even among seasoned scavengers. He adjusted the visor of his helmet and scanned the horizon. Machines clanked in the distance and robotic drones whirred overhead, sorting through heaps of metal. Nothing unusual caught his attention at first, just the usual chaos of a scrap world. But then a faint, high-pitched sound reached him. It was almost like a cry, soft and desperate, buried under the clatter of machinery. "Hello?" Ethan called, walking toward the noise. His boots crunched over loose metal plates and broken pipes. "Is someone there?" The sound came again, sharper this time. It wasn't human. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. Humans were rare on Corin 5. Almost everyone here was robotic or alien. Whoever or whatever was calling out needed help. He followed the cries to a massive pile of scrap. Twisted metal sheets formed a precarious mountain, and at the bottom something small and frail was trapped. As he got closer, Ethan saw the creature's face, large almond-shaped eyes glimmering in a pale blue light. Its skin had a faint purple hue, almost shimmering in the sun. The being struggled against the weight of the metal pressing down on it. "Please, help," the voice whispered. It was weak, trembling with fear. Ethan didn't hesitate. He dropped to his knees and pushed at the scrap with all his strength. The metal was heavy and his hands scraped against sharp edges, but he gritted his teeth and kept going. Sweat ran down his forehead, but he finally managed to lift one of the heavier sheets just enough for the creature to slip out. When it was free, Ethan carefully set it down on a patch of dirt. The being coughed and shivered. Its long, thin fingers clutched at his arm, seeking reassurance. "Are you okay?" Ethan asked gently. The creature nodded, though it was too weak to speak. Ethan studied it for a moment. She, he assumed it was female, looked no older than a human teenager. Her eyes blinked rapidly, taking in the surroundings. I am Lyra," she finally whispered. Her voice was soft but musical. "Thank you," Ethan offered a hand. "I'm Ethan, you're safe now." "Don't worry." Lyra hesitated but then took his hand. Her touch was surprisingly warm. Ethan noticed that despite her fear, she had a quiet strength in her eyes. It was clear she had survived something dangerous, maybe even deadly. He quickly assessed her situation. Her left leg was bruised and there were cuts on her arms. Her clothes were torn, hanging in shreds. "We need to get you out of here," Ethan said. "Do you have a ship? Or anyone coming for you?" Lyra shook her head. "No. My ship, destroyed. My family, gone." Her voice broke and she pressed her face to her hands. Ethan's chest tightened. He had dealt with desperate refugees before, but there was something about Lyra's eyes that made him feel responsible. She was alone in a hostile world. He couldn't leave her here. "Okay," he said softly. "You're coming with me. I can get you medical help, food, and shelter." Lyra looked at him cautiously. "Why?" "Help me. Humans do not help aliens." Ethan chuckled lightly. "Maybe not all humans, but some of us do." He extended his hand again. "Come on, let's get you somewhere safe." She hesitated, but eventually she took his hand. Ethan guided her through the scrapyard. The robots and drones paid them little attention. They were programmed to ignore living beings unless they interfered with work. Ethan kept a watchful eye, though. The planet wasn't safe for someone as vulnerable as Lyra. As they walked, Ethan asked gently, "Can you tell me what happened?" Lyra's lips trembled. "Raid, our ship, attacked. I ran, crashed here, alone." She looked down at her hands, still shaking. "I never thought someone would find me." Ethan nodded. "You're not alone anymore. I won't let anything happen to you." The two moved carefully through the debris until they reached Ethan's transport ship, a battered but reliable vessel he had repaired himself. Its engines hummed softly, ready for flight. He helped Lyra aboard, supporting her as she sat down. "You can rest here for a moment," he said. "I'll get some supplies and check your injuries." Lyra nodded silently. Ethan retrieved a medical kit and began tending to her wounds. He cleaned the cuts, applied antiseptic, and wrapped her bruised leg. Lyra flinched at first, but relaxed as he worked carefully. "You're very skilled," she said quietly. Her large eyes watching his hands, Ethan smiled. I've had to be. Space is dangerous. You learn quickly, or you don't survive. He paused, then added, but that doesn't mean I leave someone behind, especially not someone like you. Lyra's eyes softened, and for a moment she didn't speak. Ethan could feel a connection forming between them, one that went beyond simple gratitude. He dismissed it, focusing on finishing the bandages. Once she was tended to, Ethan offered her some food. She hesitated, unfamiliar with human meals, but took a small piece of rations. Her face lit up as she tasted it. Delicious, she whispered. Ethan chuckled. Not bad, huh? Wait till you try my special space stew someday. Lyra managed a small smile, her first real expression of relief since he found her. She looked around the ship, eyes wide with curiosity. You live here? Yes, Ethan said. It's not much, but it's safe. And it keeps me fed, he winked. Mostly, Lyra tilted her head. Safe, I like that word. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. It was strange to feel responsible for someone else in this vast galaxy. But he realized he wouldn't trade it for anything. Good. You deserve safe. After a while, Lyra's eyelids grew heavy. She curled up on one of the small beds in the ship. Ethan pulled a blanket over her. Sleep now. Tomorrow we'll get you somewhere even safer, she murmured, a quiet, almost inaudible, thank you, before closing her eyes. Ethan sat beside her for a moment, thinking. He had rescued many people before, humans, aliens, refugees, but something about Lyra felt different. He didn't know what it was yet, but he sensed this meeting would change both of their lives forever. Outside the ship, the scrapyard continued its chaotic hum, oblivious to the quiet drama unfolding inside. Ethan knew danger was never far in the galaxy, and someone might come looking for Lyra. But for now she was safe, and that was all that mattered. As night fell on Corin 5, the twin moons cast a gentle glow over the scrapyard. Ethan checked the ship's systems, ensuring everything was ready for departure at first light. He glanced at Lyra once more, peacefully asleep, and felt a strange sense of hope. Perhaps rescuing her wasn't just about saving a life. Perhaps it was the beginning of something neither of them could have imagined, a bond that might one day change the course of their destinies. For now, though, it was enough that Lyra was safe, and Ethan had a new reason to face whatever the galaxy might throw at him. Tomorrow, their journey truly began. The next morning, the twin suns of Corin 5 rose slowly over the scrap mountains, casting long shadows across the jagged metal piles. Ethan woke early, checking the ship's systems before Lyra stirred. She was curled under the blanket, her breathing calm but shallow, still recovering from the ordeal of being trapped. Morning, Ethan said softly, trying not to startle her. Lyra opened her large eyes, blinking sleepily. Morning, she whispered, her voice still quiet and cautious. You slept well? Ethan asked, pouring a small cup of water. Lyra nodded. Better than I expected. You made me feel safe, she hesitated. I never felt safe before. Ethan smiled, feeling a strange warmth in his chest. Good, that's exactly what I wanted. He spent the morning preparing the ship for departure. He checked the engines, refueled the small fuel cells, and calculated the safest course off the planet. While he worked, Lyra watched him, curious but still cautious. What is that? She asked, pointing to a small tool in his hand. This? It's a plasma wrench. Helps me fix engines and machines, Ethan explained. He handed it to her carefully. Want to try? Lyra hesitated but then took it. Her fingers were delicate but surprisingly strong. She mimicked Ethan's movements, tapping and twisting as he had shown her. I understand. Little, she said. That's okay. You're learning fast, Ethan said, impressed. Most humans take weeks to get this. Lyra tilted her head. You are patient. I have to be. Space doesn't forgive mistakes. Ethan's tone softened. And you've already been through so much. You deserve patience. By mid-morning, the ship was ready. Ethan helped Lyra into a secure seat with straps, making sure she was safe during the launch. As he took the controls, he glanced at her. She was nervous, her large eyes fixed on the sprawling scrapyard below. Hold on, he said, his voice calm and steady. We're leaving. The engines roared, lifting the ship off the jagged surface. Lyra clutched the armrests, her knuckles white, but Ethan noticed a spark of excitement in her eyes. She had never flown in a ship like this before, and the feeling of rising above the scrapyard seemed both terrifying and thrilling. Beautiful, she whispered. As the twin suns reflected off the metal mountains below, Ethan smiled. Yeah, Corn 5 has its own kind of beauty, if you look past the scrap. As they entered the atmosphere, Ethan explained the basics of space travel, teaching Lyra how the ship's systems worked, how to read simple instruments, and how to navigate through space lanes. She listened intently, absorbing everything like a sponge. I never knew humans. We're so clever, Lyra said finally. You make it look simple. Ethan laughed lightly. It's not simple. Just practice and patience. You'll get there. Lyra studied him, curiosity and admiration shining in her eyes. Ethan caught a flicker of emotion there, a feeling he didn't recognize but somehow made his chest tighten. He dismissed it for now, focusing on the course ahead. For the next few days, the ship glided through the quiet regions of space. Ethan set a cautious route, avoiding crowded spaceports where authorities or bounty hunters might notice them. Lyra helped as much as she could, following his instructions, checking readings, and even assisting with small repairs. During one quiet evening, Lyra approached Ethan in the ship's small common area. Ethan, why did you help me? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan paused. It was a question he hadn't expected. Because it was the right thing to do, he replied honestly. You were in danger. I couldn't leave you there. Lyra frowned slightly. But human, usually, do not help aliens. Many hunt or ignore. That's true, Ethan admitted. Some humans are selfish or afraid. But not everyone. I've always believed in helping those who need it, no matter who they are. Lyra looked down at her hands. You are different. I try, Ethan said with a faint smile. Different isn't always easy. There was a long silence. Lyra studied him, her large eyes filled with wonder and something else, something she didn't fully understand. For her species, trust and loyalty were earned slowly, but here she felt an unfamiliar warmth in her chest. She didn't know the word for it yet, but it was growing every day. Over the next few days, Ethan and Lyra faced small challenges together. A rogue asteroid field forced them to dodge debris at high speed. Lyra's quick reflexes helped Ethan adjust the ship's trajectory, avoiding collisions. You are fast, Ethan said, genuinely impressed. Lyra's eyes gleamed. I must be. Survival requires speed. You're more than fast, Ethan replied. You're smart, resourceful, and brave. He caught himself hesitating, realizing he might be giving her too much praise. But it was true, and he couldn't deny it. During another quiet moment, they encountered a drifting cargo vessel. Ethan suggested they investigate. It might have supplies they could use. As they boarded, the vessel's systems flickered to life, revealing it had been abandoned for months. Among the scattered crates, Lyra discovered a small device, a holographic projector. What is this? She asked, touching it gently. Ethan activated it. A blue image of a star map projected into the air, showing routes through nearby space. Navigation aid, he explained. This could be useful for us. Shows safe paths, trade routes, even pirate activity. Lyra's eyes widened. Humans, so clever. You think of everything. Ethan shrugged, though a hint of pride touched his face. Experience. And I've had to survive on my own for a long time. You learn to think ahead. The days passed, and Lyra grew more comfortable with Ethan. She began asking questions about humans, their culture, and the galaxy. Ethan answered patiently, explaining human holidays, humor, and even some of the silly superstitions humans believed in. Lyra laughed for the first time since the scrapyard incident, a soft, melodic sound that echoed through the small ship. Ethan found himself smiling more often, enjoying her curiosity and wonder. He had rescued many beings before, but Lyra was special. She had a spark he couldn't ignore, a mix of intelligence, courage, and innocence that drew him in. Their journey was not without danger. A patrol drone from a nearby system scanned them, sensing an unidentified alien on board. Ethan had to act quickly, using the ship's stealth systems to hide their presence. Lyra watched, amazed at his quick thinking and problem-solving skills. You saved us, she whispered once the drone passed. Ethan gave a small nod. We're a team. You help me, I help you. That's how it works in space. Lyra's large eyes met his, and for a moment she felt a strange warmth. It was not fear, not obligation, something entirely new. She didn't know the name of the feeling, but it made her heart beat faster. As they neared a friendly trading hub, Ethan explained what would happen next. We'll stay here for a few days. I'll get you some proper food, clean clothes, and medical checkups. You'll be safe while we plan our next move. Lyra nodded, though her eyes lingered on Ethan. I trust you. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. Good. That's all I ask. At the trading hub, they encountered new faces, humans, aliens, and beings Ethan had never seen before. Lyra was overwhelmed by the diversity, but she followed Ethan closely, learning quickly. He introduced her as his companion, carefully explaining the situation to trusted allies. One evening, while they rested in a small room provided by the hub, Lyra turned to Ethan. Why? Do you care so much? Why, me? Ethan looked at her, considering how to answer. Because you matter. You're alive and you deserve a chance. You've been through more than anyone should have to face alone, and I believe in giving people that chance no matter where they come from. Lyra's eyes glistened. She wanted to say more, but words failed her. Instead, she simply nodded, a silent understanding passing between them. The next day, they left the hub and continued their journey. Ethan noticed that Lyra's skills were improving rapidly. She could read instruments, assist in minor repairs, and even pilot short distances under his guidance. She was eager to learn, curious about everything, and unafraid to ask questions. At night, she would sometimes sit quietly, staring out at the stars. Ethan noticed and joined her once, sitting silently beside her. The stars make you feel small, he said softly. Lyra nodded. But they also make you feel hope, Ethan smiled. Exactly. Hope is what keeps us moving, even when things seem impossible. For the first time since she had been rescued, Lyra felt something close to peace. She had a guide, a protector, and now a friend. Someone she could trust. And though she didn't fully understand it yet, a new emotion was blooming in her chest, something warm, comforting, and powerful. As they continued their voyage through the quiet reaches of space, Ethan and Lyra both realized that their journey was not just about survival. It was about learning, growing, and discovering a bond neither of them expected. In the vast emptiness of the galaxy, they had found each other, and that alone was something worth fighting for. The ship glided silently through space, stars stretching in long trails as it moved. Ethan sat at the controls, checking the sensors again and again. He had learned long ago that danger could appear when least expected. Lyra, sitting beside him, was focused on reading the ship's navigation instruments, her large eyes scanning the screens with a mix of concentration and wonder. For days, their journey had been calm, but Ethan knew peace was fragile in the galaxy. Lyra's presence, though mostly quiet, made him unusually aware of the possibilities of trouble. She had abilities that were extraordinary, unlike anything he had ever seen. While he tried to keep her safe, he also knew others might be hunting for someone like her, someone who could change the balance of power among the stars. Their first sign of trouble came in the form of a small, blinking signal on the ship's sensors. Unidentified vessel approaching fast, Ethan muttered, leaning closer to the console. Lyra's head snapped toward him. Is it dangerous? Possibly, Ethan said calmly. Could be patrol, could be scavengers, could be pirates. Let's see. He tapped a few controls, sending a silent message of identification. There was no response. The ship shook slightly as a bright light scanned them. Lyra gripped the armrests, her fear clear. They will find me, she whispered. They won't, Ethan said firmly. Not if we stay smart. Trust me. He maneuvered the ship, dipping into a narrow asteroid field nearby. Rocks and ice drifted lazily, but the dense field offered perfect cover. The other ship followed, struggling to navigate through the obstacles. Lyra's eyes widened. You do this? Often? More than I'd like to admit, Ethan replied with a small smile. Asteroids, debris, enemy patrols. The galaxy is full of surprises. Lyra leaned forward, fascinated. You always know what to do. Ethan shook his head. Not always. But I learn fast. And I have you here. 2 heads are better than 1. For the next hour, they wove through the asteroid field, carefully staying just out of reach of the pursuing vessel. Ethan's hands moved skillfully across the controls, while Lyra watched and occasionally offered suggestions. Her intuition for movement surprisingly sharp. Finally, the pursuing ship gave up, turning away after taking minor damage from the field. Ethan exhaled, leaning back in his seat. That's enough excitement for now, he muttered. Lyra let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. You saved us again. she said softly. Ethan glanced at her. We're a team, Lyra, always remember that. The moment was brief, but in it something unspoken passed between them. Lyra's eyes lingered on Ethan, a warmth in her expression that had not been there before. Ethan felt it too, a sense of responsibility that was stronger than he had expected. He pushed the thought aside, focusing on the navigation ahead. A few days later, they arrived at a neutral trading hub on a small, peaceful planet. The hub was bustling with travelers, merchants, and adventurers from all corners of the galaxy. Lyra's eyes widened at the variety of beings, each different in shape, color, and size. She clung slightly to Ethan, overwhelmed but fascinated. Relax, Ethan said gently. This place is safe, mostly. Lyra nodded, still unsure, but she followed him closely. They docked the ship and made their way to a small, private room arranged by a contact of Ethan's. The room was simple but comfortable, a safe place for Lyra to rest and recover. While Lyra settled in, Ethan went to meet his contact, a tall alien merchant named Varric. Varric was known for neutrality and fairness, willing to help those in need if it benefited him. He greeted Ethan warmly. You've brought a rare one, Varric said, glancing at Lyra. Not many younglings of her kind are out here. She's under my protection, Ethan said firmly. No one is harming her while she's with me. Varric nodded. Good, but be aware the galaxy is watching. Her abilities are known in some circles. People might come looking. Ethan's jaw tightened. I know, that's why we stay careful. And keep moving. Later, Ethan returned to the room where Lyra was exploring. She had found a small device that projected holographic star maps, and she was studying it intently. You're learning fast, Ethan said, watching her manipulate the controls with ease. Lyra looked up, a faint smile on her face. I want to help. I want to be strong like you. Ethan felt a sudden surge of pride. You already are. You've survived so much. That makes you strong. But learning to control your abilities, that takes time. Lyra nodded seriously. I want to try. I don't want to be helpless again. Ethan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. You won't be. Not while I'm here. The next few days were spent preparing. Ethan taught Lyra more about the ship, navigation, and basic defense tactics. Lyra proved to be incredibly quick at learning, her reflexes and intelligence making her a natural. She also discovered new things about her own abilities. Small bursts of energy manipulation that could deflect minor obstacles or help with ship repairs. One afternoon, while practicing in the ship's small training area, Lyra accidentally released a small energy pulse. The lights flickered and a nearby console sparked. Ethan rushed over, but instead of anger, he laughed softly. You're powerful, he said. That was impressive, just control it better next time. Lyra looked at him, her cheeks faintly glowing. I want to be ready. You already are more ready than most, Ethan said. But yes, practice makes perfect. Their training was interrupted by an urgent alert. Another ship had entered the system, a sleek dark vessel that moved with precision. Ethan's expression hardened. They're here, he said. Lyra's eyes widened. Who are they? Enemies, Ethan said. Could be mercenaries, could be bounty hunters. Either way, they're looking for you. Lyra swallowed hard. Me? Why? Me? Ethan's voice was firm but gentle. Because of what you are. You have abilities some people would pay a fortune for, or worse, use for harm. That's why I protect you. They quickly prepared the ship for departure. Ethan plotted a course that would take them through an uncharted nebula, hoping it would conceal their presence. Lyra assisted, her hands steady despite her fear. As they entered the nebula, visibility dropped. Misty clouds of gas surrounded the ship, and instruments flickered with interference. Ethan and Lyra worked together, navigating carefully. Suddenly, the pursuing vessel appeared from the mist, weapons charging. Ethan's hands moved with practiced speed, dodging attacks while keeping the ship steady. Lyra's energy pulses helped deflect smaller shots, her instincts guiding her in ways even Ethan couldn't predict. You are amazing, Ethan shouted over the alarm. Lyra blushed slightly. I try. The chase continued through the dense nebula. Ethan relied on both his experience and Lyra's abilities to evade the enemy. It was dangerous, tense, and exhausting, but they worked in perfect coordination. Finally, using a clever maneuver, Ethan spun the ship around an asteroid cluster, causing the pursuing vessel to collide with debris. The enemy ship limped away, heavily damaged, giving Ethan and Lyra a chance to escape. Breathing heavily, Ethan turned to Lyra. "We made it." Lyra's eyes shone with relief and something else, admiration, gratitude, and a budding trust. I never knew. Humans could be so brave," she said softly. Ethan smiled, though he felt a strange tug in his chest at her words. "You're not so helpless either, Lyra. Today you helped save us both." For the first time, Lyra allowed herself to feel pride. "I'm learning. Because of you," she said. Ethan shook his head. "No, Lyra, you're learning because you want to. I'm just guiding you. You're the one who's growing stronger." That night, as the ship sailed through calm space, Lyra sat quietly, staring at the stars. She thought about everything that had happened. The scrapyard, her rescue, the dangers, and the unexpected bond she felt forming with Ethan. It was confusing, unfamiliar, and exciting all at once. Ethan noticed her quiet contemplation. He didn't say anything, just watched her for a moment. He understood she was learning more than just survival. She was learning trust, connection, and perhaps even something deeper that neither of them fully understood yet. In the vast emptiness of space, two unlikely companions were becoming a team, learning to rely on each other. The dangers were real and more challenges were coming. But for now they had survived another day, stronger and closer than before. And somewhere deep inside, both of them knew this journey was only the beginning. The ship moved silently through the quiet expanse of space. Ethan checked the sensors repeatedly, making sure no unexpected ships were nearby. Lyra sat beside him, calm but alert, her hands hovering near the controls. The events of the past days had changed both of them. They had faced dangers together, navigated tricky situations, and learned to trust each other completely. "Ethan," Lyra said softly, breaking the silence. "Where are we going?" "We're headed to a safe planet," Ethan replied. "A place where no one can track us easily. You'll be able to rest, recover, and maybe even learn more about your abilities without worry." Lyra tilted her head. "Safe sounds nice." Ethan smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him at her words. "It's not just nice. It's necessary. You deserve safety after everything you've been through." For the next few days, the voyage was quiet. Ethan and Lyra spent time practicing, talking, and even laughing together. Lyra's confidence grew with every passing moment. She learned more about piloting, repairing ship systems, and using her energy abilities in controlled ways. Ethan watched her progress with pride. She had been rescued as a fragile, frightened teen, but she was becoming capable, strong, and independent. One evening, Lyra approached Ethan as he studied star charts. "Ethan, I feel strange." Ethan looked up. "Strange how?" Lyra hesitated, her eyes wide. "I care about you at more than I understand." Ethan felt his chest tighten. He had suspected something had changed between them, but hearing her say it aloud made it real. He searched for the right words. "Lyra, what you feel is natural. You've been through a lot, and we've been through it together. That connection. It's important." Lyra's eyes shimmered. "But humans feel differently. Sometimes I don't know what to do." "You don't have to do anything right now," Ethan said gently. "Just understand that it's okay to feel it, and I care about you too. I promise I'll always protect you." Lyra's lips curved into a small smile. "Thank you." The next day, they arrived at the safe planet, a lush green world with tall trees, sparkling rivers, and mountains that touched the clouds. Ethan had visited it before, and it was the perfect place for Lyra to rest. There were no patrols, no enemies, and the planet's inhabitants were peaceful and welcoming. "This is beautiful," Lyra whispered as she stepped off the ship. She inhaled deeply, taking in the fresh air. "I never knew planets could be like this." Ethan watched her, his heart swelling. "It is beautiful, and it's safe here. You can explore, learn, and live without fear." They spent the next few days on the planet. Ethan showed Lyra how to navigate through the forests, find edible plants, and even build small shelters. Lyra's natural curiosity and intelligence allowed her to learn quickly. She began practicing small energy exercises, learning to control her abilities carefully. One evening, while sitting by a river, Lyra turned to Ethan. "Ethan, I want to stay with you, not just for safety. I like being With you. Ethan was quiet for a moment. He had not expected this moment to come so soon, yet he had secretly hoped for it. Lyra, I like having you with me too, he said softly. You're brave, smart, and amazing. I've grown to care for you more than I thought possible. Lyra's eyes widened and she reached for his hand. I never thought anyone would care for me like this. You're not alone anymore, Ethan said firmly, squeezing her hand gently. And you never will be. I'll protect you. I'll teach you. And I'll be here for you always. Lyra leaned closer, resting her head on his shoulder. Thank you, Ethan. For the first time since her crash, Lyra felt completely safe and completely cared for. She had someone she trusted completely, someone who believed in her and someone she could rely on no matter what. And for Ethan, the feeling was mutual. He had rescued her, yes, but in the process she had rescued him too, from loneliness, danger, and a life without connection. Days passed peacefully on the planet. They explored hidden caves, swam in crystal-clear rivers, and trained together. Ethan taught Lyra more advanced skills, how to navigate using the stars, how to handle emergency situations, and how to use her energy abilities to protect herself and others. Lyra's control and strength grew rapidly. She could now manipulate small bursts of energy with precision, enough to deflect small obstacles or assist in repairs. One morning, while gathering supplies from a nearby village, they encountered a group of travelers who had heard rumors about an alien teen with extraordinary abilities. Ethan immediately stepped forward, explaining that Lyra was under his protection and that they meant no harm. The travelers respected Ethan's words, leaving without incident, but the encounter reminded them that danger could return at any time. Lyra looked at Ethan, worry in her eyes. Will they come again? They might, Ethan admitted. But we're ready, and we're stronger together. No one will take you from me. Lyra nodded, her trust in him absolute. I believe you. One evening, as the sun set over the mountains, Lyra sat beside Ethan on a hill overlooking the valley. She turned to him, her eyes serious. Ethan, I want to tell you something important. Ethan looked at her, his heart beating faster. Go ahead, Lyra. Whatever it is, you can tell me. Lyra took a deep breath. I love you, not just because you saved me, but because of who you are. Brave, kind, clever, everything. Ethan's eyes softened and he felt a surge of emotion he had never expected. He reached out, taking her hands in his. Lyra, I care about you too. I've come to love you in my own way. You're extraordinary, and being with you, it feels right. More right than anything I've ever known. Lyra's eyes filled with tears, not of sadness but of joy and relief. She leaned into him and Ethan wrapped his arm around her, holding her close. In that moment, words were unnecessary. The bond they had formed over weeks of danger, trust, and learning spoke louder than anything they could say. Their peace was soon tested. A small patrol vessel entered the planet's orbit, scanning for unusual activity. Ethan and Lyra had to act quickly. Using the skills they had learned together, they guided the ship into a hidden canyon using natural formations to hide from sensors. Lyra assisted, her energy abilities masking the ship's presence. When the patrol finally left, Ethan exhaled in relief. That was too close, he said. Lyra smiled faintly. We did it together. Ethan nodded. Exactly. Together. And that's how we'll face everything, together. The next morning, they explored a hidden waterfall deep in the forest. Lyra laughed as the water splashed her, feeling freedom and joy she had never known. Ethan joined her, smiling as her laughter echoed through the trees. You're happy, Ethan said quietly. Lyra turned to him, her eyes bright. Because you're here, because I'm not alone. Ethan felt his chest tighten. He realized that rescuing Lyra had not only saved her life, but had given him something he had been missing for years. A purpose. A connection and a bond that no danger in the galaxy could break. As night fell, they sat together under the stars. Lyra leaned against him, her hand in his. The planet was calm, the threats far away, and the stars above seemed to shine just for them. You saved me, Lyra whispered. No, Ethan said gently. You saved me too. From loneliness, from danger, from a life without someone to care about. We saved each other. Lyra smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. I will always stay with you. Ethan held her close. and I'll always be here for you. No matter what comes, in the quiet of the galaxy, two unlikely companions, one human, one alien, had found something extraordinary: trust, courage, and a bond that could survive anything. They had faced danger, learned from each other, and discovered a connection neither expected. For Ethan and Lyra, the future was uncertain, but it was theirs to share. Together they would explore the stars, face challenges, and grow stronger. And in the vast expanse of space, they had found something rare and precious: each other. As the night deepened and the twin moons of the planet cast their glow over the forest, Ethan and Lyra sat silently, watching the stars, knowing that whatever the galaxy held, they would face it side by side. And for the first time in both of their lives, they truly felt at home.